Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 of my Raptor Recreation. If you're on Discord, I actually posted a preview photo the other day of how this has progressed, and I must say I'm really happy with how it's turning out. As you know, what I post on my channel, it's always a bit behind actually with what I'm doing because I have to make the stuff and make the videos, etc, etc. So I'm always ahead with the actual build. So this build so far is 95% complete. I just have a few details and things to add into it, but it's definitely turned out to be a lot bigger project than I actually anticipated, because instead of just kind of doing Raptor, like I said in the last episode, I wanted it just to be a Raptor recreation, and I ended up kind of, the more pathwork I put in, the more the midway kind of started to be built, and then I decided to put a little bit of blue streak in there, and then just now actually I just did a little bit of our Raving in the background just to really tie the whole area together. So I started building a lot more than I actually hoped to, but I'm happy with how it's looking. And yeah, so like I said, if you're on Discord, I did post a preview photo there. If you're not on Discord, then you just have to wait for each video to come out to see what I'm doing. But anyway, today I'm actually just going to put together the transfer track, the station, and the part of the queue line which is underneath. And as you can see, I actually run into some problems with space, and I have to kind of jig things around a little bit. So the first problem I actually run into is the station, and it's too far back, and actually when I put the queue parts in underneath, there's not enough space for me to do what it should be in real life because of the ride's helix at the end. And so I have to kind of figure that out, which means I have to make the pre-lift hill drop even bigger than I wanted to. Again, I know I said in the last episode that I had to make it bigger anyway due to the grid limitations of the game. So now I'm going to have to make it even bigger just so I can fit this path in. But you'll see what I mean now. As you can see, I'm doing this zigzag queue line here at the back, and then actually when I come underneath the track and on this side, there's not enough space, so I'm going to have to try and figure out that by jigging some things around a little bit. So I will be doing that soon. And also with the station, I actually I do remember the station from being there in person, and I tried to kind of do what I can remember, but there's some little details on it that I just don't know. I can't find photos of it anywhere, so I've had to kind of just use like an educational guess with some things, especially with like the underneath the station. I have no idea what it is. I've just kind of seen like a blurry picture from Google Earth, so I'm just kind of guessing what it is, but it's like a representation of Raptor, you know. I mean, I am trying to recreate it, but some things aren't going to be 100% correct because I don't know 100% the details of the ride in real life. So I'm just trying to create as best I can. So I'm aware in real life that the roof on the station actually overhangs a little bit in the front, and it actually kind of bothers me in the game that the roof pieces are so set to the grid. I wish they were like some of the other pieces, like the props and stuff, where you can actually move them around on any grid size that you like. So I couldn't make the overhang with the roof there on the front, but I shall go in and do it with a different roof texture from one of the Shy Guy sets. But really I wanted the whole roof to be the same texture, this kind of corrugated iron look. So that's just something I'm going to have to kind of sacrifice. I know it's just a small thing, but yeah, I just kind of wish the roofs and also the walls as well, I kind of wish they were not so much on the grid. Like obviously you can use the mod sets and have some walls that are off grid, which is great, but there's some in-game wall pieces like the ones I've used for the station here that can only be put on the grid, and I just kind of wish that you could move them around a bit more freely. But then I guess it's these kind of limitations sometimes in the game that make you have to think outside the box and think other ways to do things. So I guess it's kind of a good thing as well. So far I've really enjoyed building this kind of, I'm going to say Cedar Point area, because it's turned more into an area than just a ride recreation. But I've really enjoyed it. It's bringing back all the feels from when I was at Cedar Point last year. Really love the place. I spoke a little bit about it in the last episode, but I'm just going to talk a little bit more about it in this one. I just, you know, I thought the park, it didn't have the best theming in the world. I mean, if you want theming, you're going to go to Disneyland or, you know, or Universal Studios or something like that to get that immersive feel, but It did not bother me at all. The rides could have even less theming than they did anyway, because the rides were just so good. I've never been to a theme park before where there was just so many good rides in one place. I have been to Magic Mountain, and it's very similar, like the amount of rides there are, but for me the quality of the rides was more there at Cedar Point, whereas the ones at Magic Mountain were all good, and obviously like X2 is phenomenal and Twisted Colossus was great, but some of them are just a bit like, meh. Like Viper was rough, and Revolution, I actually quite enjoyed Revolution, but you know, and you've got the Green Lantern ride, which I actually also kind of enjoyed, but not the best. Tatsu was amazing, I love that ride. And Scream, you know, great, Flawless Coaster, and Riddler's Revenge. But then at Cedar Point, you've got like Maverick and Millennium Force and Rougarou and Gatekeeper and all these great rides by Raving. You know, they were just bigger and better, and I just loved it. It was so good. Like, an actual favourite of mine at Cedar Point had to be Magnum, because I was not expecting anything good. Like, I went on the ride thinking, okay, I'm not going to sit at the back because it's going to kill me. So I sat kind of like in the middle, more towards the front. And I was expecting it to be rough as hell, and I don't know, I just thought, okay, I've been on the big one at Blackpool, and I thought if there's anything to go on that, it's going to be a bit naff, not very good, and I'm probably only going to ride it once, and that'll be it. I mean, I quite like the big one, but the first drop's great, but the rest of the big one is kind of like a monorail. It's kind of boring. There's no airtime. But oh my god, I was wrong with Magnum. Like, the first drop was really great, and then every hill had this like crazy airtime that it was like they didn't manufacture it to have that airtime. It was like it was a mistake, like it was brutal, but it was so good. I really enjoyed that ride, and because it had no queue ever, I actually just re-rode it over and over and over again. I sat in the back as well, which had like crazy airtime, and it was brutal and really good, but not really like as rough as I thought it was going to be. Like, I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really rideable and a really enjoyable ride, and it was such a surprise to me because I thought it was going to be absolute garbage. And that kind of the same goes for Gemini. Like, I also kind of thought that was going to be like a one ride only kind of attraction, and I ended up riding that over and over and over again, mainly because it had no queue, and also it was very, very smooth. And I could not believe that an arrow ride of its age that had wooden supports was going to be as smooth as it was. And it actually had some really big drops and hills in it, so that was really a good surprise as well for me. But of course, my favourite in the park, as I said in the last episode, was Maverick. Really, really great. I've been thinking about building a recreation of Maverick in the game, so maybe I might do that. What do you think? If I should do it, let me know down below. But it's definitely something I've been thinking about, so maybe I shall start looking into that when I haven't got any projects to do. But right now I've still got, you know, lots of things to carry on with, like my Pleasure Beach project and my Disney project, which is slowly but, you know, surely coming along. And this Raptor project now that I've started as well. So anyway, back to Raptor here. I'm actually just finishing up here the brake run and the transfer track. It's something I always really enjoy building. I'm not really sure why, but I think it's because it's like a detail that every coaster kind of has, and I just really like to build it and see the ride come to life, and I think this is one of the things that makes it come alive a bit more. So that is nearly finished. I actually realised later on from looking at a picture that the queue line does actually continue to snake underneath the transfer track and the brake run, so I will go back in and add some queue line under there. I mentioned again in the last video that I have like a list of things to change and do and edit, and that is one of them. So I've had to change the helix a little bit here just because it came very close to the supports on the transfer track, and the train on the actual ride clashed with it, so I've just moved that in a bit there just to make it fit a bit better. So I'm just going to go ahead now and build this fence around this part of the queue line. In real life, this part of the queue line is actually in like a backstage area, and the thing dividing it from the backstage area is this tall fence, and visitors inside the queue line can't actually see really above that fence, so you're not really aware that you're in like a concreted car park backstage area. So I'm just going to build that wall here. So now I'm going to go in and take one of the small short curved wall pieces from the in-game wall set. You probably missed it there, but it was because of the time lapse. But basically I'm going to sink those underground where the fences are on the queue line to get rid of those automatic fences. And this allows me to put my own fences on top. I mean, these fences don't actually follow the path correctly. They're just there for like a gimmick, or just for like a facade, just to create that look of like a cattle pen queue line. But yeah, the way to get rid of the in-game fences on those queue lines paths is to sink a wall underneath them, and it will automatically erase it. So this vending machine there is not really functional because guests can't actually get to it, but in real life there is a vending machine there in the queue line. So I've just put one there. And now I'm going to do some custom lamps. These don't actually have lights in yet, but I will go in, and there's actually like a new mod called Better Lighting or something like that, and I'm going to go in and put some lights from that inside those lamps that I made so that they actually glow at night time. I keep forgetting that the new version, well, the latest updates of the game have a nighttime mode, and so I need to go around the whole thing and light it, which will be actually, I think, really exciting. Maybe to give it like some life at nighttime, put some spotlights on certain parts of the ride, that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to doing that nearer the time when the rest of the area is kind of finished. So I'm just going around and adding a few more details into places. I'm just putting these little beams in there on the lift hill, and I'm going to do the rest of the queue line here. And then this is another path which is for fast track users, I believe. And also I think maybe it's the path where a maintenance guy can get into the bottom of the lift hill to do maintenance or something. I'm not actually sure in real life where the path is for that bit. I've been trying to look on Google Earth, but there's lots of trees and things around the area, so I can't really see everything. So this is when I start to change all the lift supports from, as I said, that one side of them are actually straight and I did them all at an angle. So I'm going to go in and change those all in to straight supports, but I will do it off camera so that I don't show you the same thing twice basically. And then I'm just going to do these supports here for the queue line and the exit. Just a very simple yellow frame with pink crosses in them. So yeah, that's basically it for today. I'm not going to build anything extra in this episode today. I'm just going to let you watch me continue doing some of the queue path work and these little structures, etc. But if you've enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to see little previews of things of my projects or things that I'm working on, then go and join the Parkitect Discord. On there I post the odd screenshot now and then, as well as on my Twitter account as well. I also post previews and screenshots of things, of projects that I'm working on for YouTube on there as well, if you want to have a preview. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.